now ready to continue with the public portion of our meeting, and with apologies for a bit of tardiness this evening. I want to talk first about public correspondence. We had a good deal of written correspondence this week, and I will go through it. We had a number of emails similar to those we've had in the past from Jennifer Musial, Rushi Mehta, Jennifer Handrew, Greg Lane, Jenny Large, Lisa Walter, with regard to restoring the librarian's position. All of those have been acknowledged. We had an email from Kelly Chung with regard to the survey that Dirk sent out, and use of the survey by people who may not be connected to the district. That was also acknowledged. We had an email from Felice Bettenbender with introducing a new organization, the Glenridge Pan-Asian American Association. And that is an association of parents, families of Pan-Asian heritage, conceived to be similar to the Glenridge Black Diversity and Inclusion Association. We had an email from Aaron Ackerman on community input with regard to the ARP funds use. That was also acknowledged. We had input from Pamela Call with regard to the mask wearing restrictions and opposition to those, and had similar emails from Jacob Schwarm on that topic as well. They have also been responded to and recorded by Barbara. We also had an email from Carly Crabb with sort of corollary emails from Felice Bettenbender and Linda Simpson, with questions about guidelines and policy changes with regard to offensive language in literary selections that our students will be reading. And I know Dirk will be addressing that in a few minutes. So that is all the public correspondence that we've had since the last meeting, which was the 24th of May. Many of you like to know how many people are with us. We have 55 participants at the moment. That number also includes 9 board members, our board attorney, Athena Cornell, our business administrator, Barbara Murphy, and of course, our superintendent, Dirk Phillips. So we have 55 minus 13, 42. Okay, the president's report is short and sweet tonight because we have a long agenda. We're at the end of the school year. We all made it to the end of the school year, and we did very well, particularly compared to other districts in Essex County and even other districts in other counties to whom we compare ourselves regularly. We have had in-person instruction in our schools for the vast majority of the year. Our teachers have worked hard. All of our personnel have worked very, very hard, and we owe them all an enormous debt of thanks. We can only hope that they get a little bit of time off this summer to refresh themselves before what will undoubtedly be an unusual return to school in the fall. But we owe you all for things that we know about and many things that we don't know about. So thank you to our entire staff. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Phillips for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Betsy. I have several items that I'm going to speak about tonight. But the first thing I want to start off with is the high school valedictorians. This year we have 2 co-valedictorians. I've invited them here tonight so I could recognize them. I'm not sure if both of them are here. I know Jack Brownstein is here. Winnie, if you could make him live, I think it's important to see him. He deserves the honor. And Alex Dreyer is our other co-valedictorian. As a high school student, Jack might be a little camera shy. There we go. Hey, Jack, congratulations. Let me read off a little biography of Jack's accomplishments while in high school. Jack has a GPA of 4.67 through his junior year. He has taken 11 honors classes and 13 advanced placement classes here at Glenridge High School. His highest ACT score is 36. Jack earned a perfect score of 800 on the Math Level 2 SAT subject test in 10th grade, and a score of 770 on the Math Level 1 subject test in 9th grade. His AP test scores include a 5 on AP Chemistry, a 5 on AP English Language and Composition, 5 on AP Statistics 1, 5 on AP US History, 5 on AP Calculus BC, and a 5 on AP Computer Science A. Jack is an AP Scholar with distinction and earned an AP Capstone Diploma. He is a member of the National Honor Society, Math Honor Society, and the Spanish Honor Society. Jack is president of the Journalists and the Math Honor Society, vice president of the Biotech Club and Business Club. He is a member of the Science League, Math League, Chemistry Club, and Medical Club. He is also on the varsity soccer team and golf team. Jack is an EMT for Cedar Grove Ambulance Squad and Rescue, tutor students with Crohn's Colitis Foundation, a representative for Socks for Homeless Souls, and volunteers through the Sportsman Service League. Jack also interned at the Weill Cornell Medical College and the Polish Institute for the Arts and Science of America. This fall, Jack will be attending Cornell University. Congratulations, Jack. And I'm well-deserved, representing Glenridge extremely well. Our other valedictorian is Alexander Michael Dreyer. Alex has a GPA of 4.67 through his junior year, and he has taken 10 honors classes and 16 advanced placement classes here at Glenridge High School. His highest ACT score is 35. Alex earned a perfect score of 800 on the Math Level 2 SAT subject test in 10th grade. His AP scores include a 5 on AP Chemistry, a 5 on AP English Language and Composition, 5 on AP Physics C Mechanics, 5 on AP Calculus BC, and a 5 on AP Human Geography. Alex's hard work has been recognized as he is a member of the National Honor Society, Math Honor Society, and the French Honor Society. He is a 2021 National Merit Scholarship finalist winner, as well as a National AP Scholar with distinctions and honors. He has also earned an AP Capstone Diploma. He received the Global Sale of Biliteracy Award for fluency in French and international certificate. In addition to being a diligent student, Alex is a member of Sharing the Arts, Gaslamp Players, Drama Club, and Key Club. He demonstrates leadership as the drive captain of the Robotic Revolution Club and vice president of the French Honor Society. Theatrically talented, Alex served as a professional mentor to aspiring teen and young adult actors with Vanguard Theater. He has earned lead roles in 3 Broadway and 6 off-Broadway shows and performed at the Tony Awards. He is a professional actor, singer, and voiceover artist, and he even plays the guitar, piano, bass, and ukulele. He is also an assistant choreographer for the Gaslamp Players and assistant director of the Glenridge Middle School Drama Club. Alex will be attending the University of Pennsylvania in the fall. Congratulations, Alex and Jack. We are extremely proud of you, and we know only good things are ahead of you. Keep up the hard work, and success will come to you. More success, I should say. My next topic is I do want to speak about the American Rescue Plan and the Safe Return to School Plan. As we're moving forward with the American Rescue Plan, I have met with the administration team, this school community group, and I put out a survey to the school community, which received 572 responses. I am compiling that information, and I will be meeting with the Board of Education's Finance Committee to discuss possibility on how to use the funds. We will be putting a final proposal together later this month, and going back to the groups to review that proposal. When we start looking at our funding options that the groups have been discussing, it's really under about 5 topics we're looking at. Academics, and that's where learning loss and concerned about not being able to go in depth under remote learning as much as we would in content areas. So hopefully to gain some ground on information that might not have been the students might not have been exposed to because of the learning models. We're looking at PPE as a possible funding, restoration of positions that were lost due to budget cuts, social emotional learning, and upgrades in some technology that is needed throughout the district. The survey results, I will say in those categories, academics had 70% of the respondents saying that is a top priority. With this restoration of positions, 60% of the respondents said that was a top priority. Social emotional learning, 43%, technology, 30%, and PPE, only 7% of the respondents thought that was a top priority. So we'll look at those numbers and continue to develop a plan that best meets the needs of the district with the input from all groups. As far as the safe return to school plan, part of the American Rescue Plan is the districts must have a safe return to plan, and it must be submitted to the state by June 24th. As we start to look at the plan, it is designed for this coming September. We are very limited on the information that the state has given us as far as guidance for September. So the current safe return to school plan reflects what we currently have in place. It's bits and pieces from the road back that we had last summer. We are using it as a framework with the understanding that as guidance is released, we will be revising the plan. So please be aware of this. This is not a final draft of the plan. This is just the start of the plan. At this time, the only guidance that we've received from the state is virtual learning is not permissible next fall unless we are in a declared public health emergency. So as far as exceptions to virtual learnings, that we have not received any information. If we've had to have a class that perhaps needs to be quarantined next fall, are we able to provide virtual learning? That if we have a teacher who's going to be out for an extended time, are they allowed to teach virtually? Those are questions that we're still waiting for guidance from the state. So we're taking what we currently are practicing as far as our safety protocols and using that as our foundation as we prepare for next September. I am extremely pleased in my next piece of news to announce that Central School Principal, there's been a recommendation for Dr. Kisha Harris to be the first principal at Central School since the 1980s. She has been with the Glenridge school system since 2001. She began her tenure in Glenridge as a gifted and talented teacher. She was named assistant principal at Ridgewood Avenue School in 2010, and since 2016 has been up at the high school as the assistant principal. During her years as part of the administrative team, she has led the district's professional development, the child care program. She was in charge of oversight, and she has worked with teacher mentoring and was really the lead individual this past year as far as the work that was being done by the Equity Committee. I know Dr. Harris is extremely excited about becoming a principal and having the ability to develop the culture and the academics environment at Central School, and I think she's a perfect fit for that position. So we're, starting July 1st, we'll get her going there. Some end of the year updates as we're looking at the end of the year and start looking at next year and what will happen next year. For athletically, the spring has been an unprecedented time for the high school athletics. Our boys tennis team won a state sectional title for the first time in 42 years. Our girls lacrosse team won their sectional title for the first time since 2012. Our golf, softball, and baseball teams all won their divisions in the Super Essex Conference. as well. So this is also the first time that the girls softball team has won a divisional championship. So congratulations to all our spring teams. Just an outstanding year as far as the efforts and the challenges that they had to face as far as with the pandemic and a shortened season. Throughout the last few weeks, we've been able to have more of a normal end of the school year where we've had our school concerts, our musicals, our elementary schools have hosted field days. Second grade promotions took place last Friday. Tomorrow night will be the sixth grade promotion, and Thursday night will be the high school graduation, 6 o'clock at Harrell Field. So a lot of events that didn't happen last school year, and we're so pleased that they were able to happen this school year. And as we're starting to work towards the opening of the fall, I want to make you guys aware of a couple plans that we are going to be working on next fall. First of all, we do have the equity audit that we are expecting to be finished by the end of the month, and a report will be given to us, and we will share that with the community at our next Board of Ed meeting at the end of July. And we will continue to revisit that and use that report as we plan for next school year and beyond. The equity committee will take a hard look at it, and that will really drive how we're proceeding next year as far as professional development and concerns and areas that we want to improve on for next school year. We do have a special education audit and a district strategic planning that will start in the fall. So you will be hearing from us and some more surveys coming your way down the road. So please be aware of that. We are also currently working on guidelines, as Betsy mentioned, concerning text selections and reading selections that happen in the classroom. We want to make sure that we are putting all our students in a position that they are comfortable in the classroom, that they feel a part of the learning environment. So we are taking a hard look at how we select text and being more considerate of what maybe perhaps derogatory language used in text or in novel selections and the age appropriateness and how we set that up. We will have a written guideline developed for the district. We will continue to work on that and revise it as necessary and get feedback from our various groups to make sure it's a document that works well for our students and for our staff. We have worked with our English department at the high school in looking at creating the document. We've worked with our literacy consultant on a couple occasions. We brought in a parent group, and we had some outside professional development by Dr. Robin Daniels done at the high school. And this has all been part of work that we wanted to go through in order to make sure that we were being deliberate and thorough in developing these guidelines. We are finishing up the draft of it. We will go to the Board of Education's curriculum committee and present it to them, and then we will share it with the public. And we're hoping that we'll have that final draft by the end of this month, and it will be in effect for the next school year. Part of our work has already made us go back and look at some of the selections that we've had at the middle school level and alter those selections so our teachers are working on finding new texts that are that cover more, some different genres, some different perspectives, including some more short stories. So students can be exposed to a great more variety in their reading. So we're excited about that work, and we will continue to proceed with it. As we end the school year, I believe our decision to open full days and it will be a great benefit to our entire staff and students. The last several weeks, we have felt more of a normal school year with the students being, majority of the students, over 90% of our students coming into school and having a full day experience. We think that will be, we felt a lot of the social piece that was missing during the school year with the cohorts and the half days. We've started to see improvements with that component of our school day. We are looking forward to the fall, and we think having the students be back for the last several weeks on a full day schedule will help them transition into a new school year much easier than if they didn't have the experiences they have had for the last few weeks. I personally want to thank the entire school community, parents, staff, students, administrators, the boards, just for being supportive, understanding, realizing the challenges that we've had, our ability to move forward at times, and at times having to take a step back. We understand the impact that this has had on students, on staff, on families, on learning, but we are at this point pleased where we're at, but with a deep understanding that we still have a lot more to address before we're back where we were pre-pandemic, and we will look forward to getting working towards creating that environment we had prior to the pandemic. And you know, we couldn't be where we are without everyone's support, and it's much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Dirk. Before we go on to public comment, board members, do you have any questions on any of the items that Dirk presented? Okay, we've now come to the first public comment period for public comment on on agenda items only. Most of you have probably been with us before, but for those who have not, if you want to make a comment, use the raise your hand function, which is by the participants button on the bottom of your Zoom screen. Raise your hand. You will be recognized in the order in which you raised your hand. After you've been recognized, please give us your name, identify your Glenridge residency or your affiliation, and then each individual has 2 minutes, and I will be timing that using the stopwatch function on my phone. So I will let you know when those 2 minutes are up. So with that, does anyone have public comment?
Yes.
Okay, Eric Goldman.
Thank you. I would like to read the text of a letter that I sent to Ms. Ginsburg and Mr. Phillips. Dear Dirk and Betsy, I'm writing as a member of the Glenridge CPAC at the request of a parent who has a child receiving special education services in district. Both of you attended a GRACE meeting in March of 2019, where as part of our discussion, we touched on the topic of the ability of parents to meet with the Board of Education. As I recall, in a personal discussion among the three of us, in front of all in attendance, you confirmed that parents can request to meet with the Executive Committee of the Board of Education at any time. I remember thinking that such meetings could go a long way towards avoiding miscommunications with parents of children receiving services in district. I had even begun the process of scheduling such a meeting before my daughter's personal circumstances changed. Recently, a parent has had his request to meet with the Executive Committee denied. The stated reasons were twofold: that such meetings were only available to discuss HIV issues, and that counsel to the district, Athena Cornell, has recommended against the specific meeting in question. As you know, the CPAC exists to address structural problems in the delivery of special education services. The events discussed above present two such structural issues. First, it seems that different parents are being told different things about the ability to meet with the Executive Committee. Second, it appears that the board has outsourced its responsibility of making judgments about communications with parents in non-litigation settings to outside counsel. Paramount in the structure of the education system in this country is local control of decision-making by people specifically elected for that purpose. Parents deserve to know that they are being treated as friends and neighbors by the people they have entrusted to make decisions pertaining to their children. Outsourcing non-litigation decision-making to a non-elected person is inconsistent with that structure. So I'm writing to ask the board to clarify two things. Is what was communicated in 2019 true, that parents can schedule meetings with the executive committee of the board to discuss
Eric, you're at 2 minutes.
10 seconds. As I was, second, what is the process for determining when to outsource decision-making to outside counsel in non-litigation matters?
Okay, thank you. First of all, let me clarify that the board does not outsource decision-making. We seek advice when that advice is prudent, and that is what we've done in this case. Dirk, would you like to comment further on this?
Well, as far as meeting with the board, the board is available to meet when there's an appeal situation. And that appeal might be in a situation related to HIB, maybe a student matter, discipline. But the board is not there to hear, issues that are not being appealed. They're not there for the day, the day-to-day operational. That's why administration is in place. So if it's a decision that needs to be an appeal because there's a disagreement with what an administrator decided, then a disagreement with what I decided as the superintendent, then you could appeal that decision to the Board of Ed. But as far as the Board of Ed just being available to the general public, that is not the purpose of the Board of Education.
Okay, Athena, any comment?
I think Dirk really summed it up. There are certain legal situations which provide an avenue of appeal to the board. I think the example that was given was HIB. That's one example. But short of that, the board is a policymaking board, and therefore having them sort of put in a position where there is an effort to have sort of ministering the day-to-day operations or something short of a legal appeal is beyond the board's purview.
Okay, thank you. I see Aaron Ackerman.
Good evening, Erin Ackerman. I'm a Glenridge resident and the parent of a second grader. I am coming to the board again to ask you to use the American Rescue Plan's funds to reinstate the high school librarian position. This is a top priority for my family and for maintaining the excellence of Glenridge schools. We've heard parents, former students, and teachers say repeatedly how important the high school library media specialist position is and the necessity of having a certified professional in it. I want to reiterate my concerns about the impact the loss of information literacy expertise will have on college preparation and critical thinking, as well as the additional load on teachers tasked with covering the responsibilities of the eliminated position, including critical and specialized tasks in electronic resource management. Teachers representing every grade in our system, and most notably from research-intensive high school subjects, have shared how much they need and value their collaborations with certified school library media specialists and the work librarians do to support better teaching and learning. Practically, having one certified school library media specialist supervise library services for the whole district is not sustainable. You would be shortchanging our students and teachers by asking one person to be both a dedicated K-2 librarian across 3 schools and, on the side, supervise the provision of library services for upper grades. We need certified school library media specialists in all of our schools to provide these services following best practices and innovations in information literacy and information resources. That will support the continued excellence of Glenridge schools. I thank you for hearing me again, and I appreciate the inclusion on the district survey of the question about restoration of eliminated positions. And I hope that the American Rescue Plan's funds can be used to reinstate the high school librarian position. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Brian Arbor.
Good evening. My name is Brian Arbor, and I live at 278 Bay Avenue here in Glenridge. My child is a second grader at Linden. at least for the next 2 days. And he'll start third grade at Ridgewood in the fall. I want to echo the comments that have already been made tonight, encouraging the board to use, to restore the media specialist position at the library. I am a college professor, and so I understand, I look at this from a perspective, obviously as a parent, but mostly as, what does it mean to be prepared for college? And what does it mean to be prepared to sit in my classroom? I'm a professor of political science. Research skills, information literacy are absolutely essential to assigning high-level work to my students. And their ability to succeed in that is, as is with all college courses, partly based on their ability to learn from high school, from their experience in high school, and to bring those to college. The proposal to have these courses taught by teachers is obviously better than nothing, but seems to be a misapplication of priorities within the district. And so when I filled out the survey that Dr. Phillips created, I, as indicated, there was one and only one top priority for the American Rescue Plan funds, and that was to restore the media specialist position. These are crucial and important skills that are best taught by librarians. And I know that from my experience in my classroom, I know that from my students who enter my classroom, and I know that would be the best thing for our district. I appreciate your service and your listening.
Thank you. All right, I see Rob Farden.
Good evening all. My name is Rob Farden. I live at 10 Victor Avenue, and my boys are soon on their way to Ridgewood Avenue and Linden, respectively. I'm calling to echo that we use the American Rescue Plan funds to reinstate both the library media specialist position. I would also like consideration to be given to reinstating the librarian position from the high school. And I do so because I have, from previous meetings, I have taken the suggestion that the skills that these specialists provide our students can still be delivered to the students by teachers assigning exercises to the students that require these skills without actually having a trained certified specialist in the schools. I'm not satisfied at all that that is the case. In a short amount of time, I would fall back on the analogy that you haven't taught a student science if they haven't had a science class, but have on occasion looked up some science questions or issues in their other classes. I am of the view, and I'm quite convinced of this, there is simply too much that students have to learn in terms of navigating the world of information literacy to begin with, and other specialized areas on top of that, that the job can really only be done, and it's an integral part of learning how to learn in this day and age, that I think the job can only be done by a specialist.
Okay,
Thank you for taking my
Thank you.
call.
I see Maggie Reed.
Hi, hello. Yes, my name is Maggie Reed. I'm a Glenridge resident. My children have graduated a couple years ago, and I just am concerned about our future generations. And so I'm advocating for librarian positions to be reinstated or instated. And I just am following that thread here to please use the American Rescue Plan monies to keep the librarian media specialist position, because I'm sure you're aware of this, but I mean, it might and probably will create resentment in your teachers, asking them to do this additional work when what they want to do is just teach the thing that they've been hired to do. So I just want to reinforce my support for that, and thank you for all the work that you do. I'm sure it cannot be easy hearing all these different opinions and making all the decisions that you have to make. My question is, when will that decision be made?
Mr. Phillips, would you like to address that?
I'm hoping to finalize a proposal by the end of this month and then present it to the board at the next Board of Ed meeting, which is in the end of July.
Okay,
But as I'm sorry to interrupt.
that's okay.
Becky.
That's okay.
The approval process from the state level, I do not know how long that will take. We've been given no indication. Grant applications can be submitted up to November 24th of this school year. At this time, I don't know if the state will wait till they receive all their applications or will review them as they come, as they are submitted.
Thank you. In this, as in so many things, we are subject to forces beyond our control. All right. By mutual agreement of the board, we are going to postpone committee and liaison reports tonight until our next meeting. But if anyone has something that is very timely, please go ahead. Tracy.
Yes, if you don't mind, I'd just like to do a brief statement about the Glenridge Educational Foundation. Community members should have received recently a letter about all of the amazing programs that the Educational Foundation is doing. And what they're looking for is their Honor and Educator program. And I'd just like to point out that for over 25 years, the Educational Foundation has been supporting initiatives in the district, large, small, everything in between. And they really came out for us this year in a way that was just exceptional. I mean, they funded all kinds of little programs in the classroom, all the way through bigger programs, and all on an expedited basis, just knowing that our needs were critical during the pandemic. So please go back into your inboxes or your junk mailboxes and look for the Educational Foundation flyer. I'd like to point out that one program that they funded this year that has been amazingly successful was the teacher program for Orton Gillingham instruction. And this has been like a huge gift to the district for all students. And as a member of the Educational Foundation, we've received a number of letters from the community in appreciation of this, not just teachers, but parents whose students have been going through the program. So I just think we all need to go back and look really hard at all the programs that the Educational Foundation has been putting our way and thank them. But please go back and take a look at some of the wonderful things that they've done, particularly in this very difficult year. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Does anyone else have an item that is time sensitive with regard to committees and liaisons? All right, we will go on to our administrative items, which you have, I'm sorry, minutes. We have minutes from the May 24th meeting, executive session and regular session. Does anyone, I'm sorry, I may have a motion for to move the minutes. Michael?
Motion.
Oh, sorry. Who was that? I'm sorry. David. Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Michael. With that, does anyone have any changes to the minutes other than the typo that was corrected earlier? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet? Ms. Boyle-Bellucci?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye. And I should say that that motion included administrative item A38, which is the safe return to school plan that Mr. Phillips alluded to earlier.
No, I think we just did the minutes. We haven't done it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm moving ahead. Okay, so that's the approval of the minutes. Now, administrative. that does include, I'm sorry, the addenda item A28, safe return to school plan. Now, we'll have a motion and a second and then any discussion. So may I have a motion? Michael,
Yeah, I'll move A1 through 38, include 38's on the addendum.
okay? And may I have a second?
Second.
Second from David. All right, before we vote, is there any discussion on this?
I just wanted to clarify that as we discussed, there are going to be multiple opportunities to review the reopening plan, and that we are maintaining sort of conservative language currently with the idea that as the governor changes his guidance, we will adjust our plan.
Okay, any other comment before we go ahead with the vote? Okay, and as Mr. Phillips said in his presentation, all districts in New Jersey are currently waiting for a major guidance document, the road forward, which is due from the Department of Ed. We have no idea when that will come, but changes to the back to school plan may result from that document, changes in circumstances as far as the COVID crisis goes. Other comment?
Is there a relation between submitting a plan, be it finalized or not, and the receiving of federal funding?
Dirk?
Yes, so part of the requirement in order to qualify for the American Rescue Plan funds is you must submit a safe return to school plan by June 24th of this year. So that plan must be submitted, and then that's really your step one of your application process of the American Rescue Plan.
Okay, any other comment? All right, with that, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet? That was a yes.
Yes. That was an
Ms.
aye. Yes. Yes.
Boyle-Belucci? Anthony, thank you. Ms. Boyle-Belucci?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLu?
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Abstain from A3, aye on all the other items. Okay, and here's the motion carries. Moving on through to personnel. Tracy, would you move the personnel items, including addenda items?
Yes, I move P1 through P21, and then there are two addendum items, P22, P23, as well as additions to P1, P4, and P20.
May I have a
I'll
second?
second, that's Teresa.
Okay, so thank you. Are in keeping with our rules and the board members code of ethics, we do not discuss personnel items in public session. But if anyone has any concerns, this would be the time to air them before we take the vote. Any comment, concerns? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle-Belucci?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLu?
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye. Motion carries. Curriculum. Michael, would you move the curriculum items?
Yeah, I'll move C1 through C5.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Anthony. Any discussion or comment on the curriculum items? Does not sound that way. Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle-Belucci?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. DeLu?
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. The motion carries. Moving on to the business items. David, would you move the business items?
I move B1 through B21.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Duval. Any discussion on any of the business items? Does not look like it. All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Vellucci,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. St. Aubern,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye. Motion carries. We have reached the second public comment period for questions or comments on agenda or other items related to the operation of the schools. The procedure is the same. Identify yourself and your affiliation. You will have 2 minutes by my clock. So if you have a question or comment, I see HT, which I believe is Mr. Turan. Mr. Turan, you're muted.
Do you hear me?
There you are.
Yes, I have a question about the two items that you all just voted on. I had my hand up earlier, but I didn't get called on. In regards to the legal contract and the auditing contract, and the language that says that we don't bid out those contracts because they have a very specific skill set. And I'm curious because I'm sure there are lots of law firms and auditing firms in New Jersey that work for all the many school districts in New Jersey. And I'm curious what specifics that these two firms have that make it that we don't even bid out those contracts. Thank you.
Okay. Barbara, do you want to address that?
Excuse me, sure. So professional services means services rendered or performed by a person authorized by law to practice a recognized profession. They're specifically listed in statute as the exception to going out to bid and for advertising. So there's no requirement for us to go out to bid for professional services. We do look at the cost, excuse me, the cost of other companies that are other professional services that may be servicing other districts, and our costs are in sync with theirs.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other hands up, but I see Elizabeth Ellersick. You're up next. You're muted right now. There we are.
Hi, Elizabeth Elisick. I teach at Ridgewood Avenue School. Being assigned all 6 sections of 5th grade science next year, I made a simple request 3 weeks before room assignments were posted. I asked to be placed in what is now a language arts room based on size, tables, storage, and availability of a sink to access water for labs, hand washing, and eye wash capabilities. That request has been denied several times on 2 points: to minimize the classroom movements as much as possible during the summer due to 2 summer programs, and that the science had been taught successfully in the current classrooms this year without water. However, nowhere is this decision based on the safety of the students or the safe and proper implementation of the science curriculum. If the inclusion of 1 more room change would disrupt the planned summer programs, I offer to move my own boxes out and move them back in September. And in this year of hybrid and virtual learning, I know hands-on labs may have suffered. And I do know that the labs using real worms and making slime for 5th grade were not completed. So I ask, when is it okay to jeopardize the safety of students or cripple the implementation of curriculum because housekeeping tasks would be compromised? I apologize for taking up your time with what may seem very trivial, but I do not apologize for refusing to overlook the safety of students in a science room when I've been teaching 34 years in the district, teaching science all in classrooms with a sink. If room 121 can't be utilized to teach all 5th grade sections of science next year, I respectfully and fervently request an eye wash station and goggle sterilization unit be added to room 123 and possibly all rooms teaching science. Why is student science safety being overlooked when a simple room change could easily be facilitated? Why is it okay to have a language arts class with a sink not being utilized, but have 6 sections of science lack access to water for labs that deal with worms, plants, and making it rain? I'm sure they need to wash their hands. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. I believe that this matter is something that is administrative in nature. We will certainly follow up with Mr. Phillips. Do you have anything to add, Dirk? You're muted.
I've had a discussion with Ms. Ellersick and Dr. Donovan about the situation. We believe that, as in the past, the science classes in 5th grade can be conducted successfully in the classroom that she's been assigned.
Okay, thank you. I see Carol Florzak.
Yes, hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Carol Florzak, current kindergartner at Central School. My question was just around personnel, specifically item P4 around team leaders. My question is, does Central School already have individuals assigned to those roles? Because I didn't see any Central School teachers on that list. And if not, when would they be added now that we'll have pre-K through 1st grades within that particular building?
Okay, thank you. And for those who are not looking at their agendas, that item P4 concerns Ridgewood, Linden, and Forest team leaders. Mr. Phillips, can you address that?
We're most likely after next school year. The number of staff that are housed at Central will still be on the smaller side, although we are gaining a 1st grade. We are also, 2 of our pre-K classes are going back to their Forest and Linden. So the number of teachers in that building will be minimal. So the need to have more what I'll call a building principal council is not as necessary as the other buildings that have housed a lot more teachers than Central will next year. The following year, we'll revisit that and determine if there's a need to include that in the 22-23 budget.
Okay, thank you. Megan Connolly is next. Hi, Megan. You're muted.
Hi. Just a couple of things. One, I'm worried that if the decision about reinstating the high school media specialist isn't made until the end of July, that another, shall we say, wiser district will snap Trish Fagan right up, and we will lose the opportunity to have a fantastic teacher who is an expert at teaching pre-K to grade 2 for that position. And that's a real concern. And then if in fact that position does get reinstated, then what? Then we're looking at the end of the summer to get a position filled when we already have a superb person in place. And so I just really, I stress the importance of making that decision as soon as possible so we don't lose an incredible asset to this entire district. And I did just quickly want to piggyback on what Carol Florzak said about the team leaders. I know I was in the contract when the team leaders went into place, and pre-K was never given a team leader. And I have my own separate problem with that. But to not have a team leader for kindergarten and 1st when there are the same exact number of teachers, classroom teachers, teaching those positions at Central as there will be at Linden and Forest, I just really don't think that that's right. I don't think it's equitable at all. So I just wanted to get that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. As Dirk said at the top when he was explaining about the ARP money and the Safe Return to School plan, the decision about when that money will be available, when the plan will be approved, when the money will be available, is not one that we have control over. Dirk, do you want to add to that?
No, I'll just go back to what I stated earlier. We don't know. We cannot spend the funding until the grant has been approved. So, and we don't know how long that will take the state at this time. So we will try to move the process along, but at the same time, moving it forward too quickly, that we're concerned that the public won't have an opportunity to have feedback in a formal setting like a board meeting. And that's why we're looking at the July Board of Ed meeting to present it to the for approval.
Okay, thank you. I see Mrs. Sawa.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, this is for Mr. Phillips. Do you plan to ask in your plan for the funds to be used for librarian technician spot, or no? Yes or no? Do you actually plan to request that?
We are working through that process right now. That's part of me getting the feedback from the public, from the school community group, the administrators, and the finance committee, which I'll be meeting with this week.
So you haven't decided?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments for us? Okay. There one other.
Hello?
Hi, Maggie, you've spoken already. I'm sorry?
Oh, that's fine.
You spoke in the first public session, Betsy.
Okay, so yes, you go ahead, please. We have a little bit of interference.
I was just wondering, Mr. Phillips, what else do you need to hear from people to help you decide about the librarian?
Maggie, we're going through a process.
Can we mute her so we don't have the feedback, please? As far as additional information, we're talking a lot of funding and requests at this time. So again, it's prioritizing, it's looking at the needs of the students. When we start looking at personnel, there's an understanding that personnel will make up a great deal of the funding, and as a result, the funding will evaporate quickly, especially if we're looking at using it for multiple years. So those are considerations that we all are taking into account. We're trying to have also a little bit of a balanced approach, and making sure that we're touching on those 5 or 6 areas that I mentioned earlier, and at least providing some funding in each of those aspects.
Okay. Anyone else? I see one hand.
Hello, this is Rob Farden again of 10 Victor Avenue. Thank you for taking me for a second call, and forgive my incomplete notes, but there was earlier a mention of a school community group. And to complete my notes, may I ask who is on that school community group?
Thank you. Dirk?
We had teachers, parents, administrators, students, members of leadership in the local teachers union.
Okay. Thank you. I see other hands. Who else do we have? Mr. Farden, Kristen Carl.
Hi, this is Kristen Carl. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I apologize. I joined late and I'm trying to catch up a bit, but I just heard the last few comments, and I had a question about whether or not there would be an opportunity for feedback once the decision about the ARP funds had been made from other. So I understand that there's a community group and that includes select individuals. And I know you have the survey mechanism, which I've completed. I'm just looking for what the other avenues are before final decisions are made. Thank you.
Thank you. You're using one of those avenues. The public comment function has always been an important part of getting feedback on matters like this and this specific matter. Dirk, can you comment on the specific about feedback, additional feedback opportunities and/or feedback opportunities after the decision is made?
I believe you hit the nail on the head when we're talking about the public meetings where the grant application will be approved by the board eventually. So we will make that available, that proposal, prior to the board agenda going out, so you have an opportunity to review it and express concerns if you're not happy with the proposal, either prior to the board meeting or during the public sessions at the board meeting.
Okay. I see Brian Arbor back again. I think he only spoke in the first session. So Brian, please.
Yes, thank you. I just had a follow-up question on the previous question about the school community board. How many of each type of category? So how many parents, how many teachers, how many administrators are on the committee? Secondly, Dr. Phillips, you said that the recommendations committee would be publicly shared. Can you give specific details on how those will be shared to the public? Will they be, say, emailed out like the survey was, or do we need to go somewhere to collect that information? And do you have a date on which that would be available, either as a target at this point, so we can have expectations for that? And can we contact the people who are on the committee to make our recommendations, or is the avenue to do that through this format? Thank you.
This is the avenue. It sounds rather lofty to say it, but we are the avenue. And Dirk, can you answer the other questions?
As far as the medium, I would provide that information. It would be through email. And that would happen, as I mentioned, before any vote by the Board of Education. The number of members, I'll try to recall off the top of my head. I think we invited 3 students. We had 2 board members. We had 2 members of the union leadership. We had 2 administrators. We invited 5 parents from different organizations. I believe that makes up the board. I don't have all the names in front of me right now, but I believe that's correct.
And Dirk, in terms of levels of feedback, the survey was sent to the entire school community, right?
Correct. We had 572 people reply to the survey. I believe roughly under 100 of them were staff or identified themselves as staff members, and roughly just under 500 identified themselves as parents.
So, and the survey, how long was the survey out? Was it a week or 2?
It was a week.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments? I don't see any blue hands. Anything else from the board? Okay, that being the case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Moved by David. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Michael. Thank you all.